this generation is more liberal, more tolerant, more Democrat-leaning than the one before. It's not just because they're young.
For another point of view, it's Hard News with Russell Brown and Wammo on Kiwi.
Yes, from the blog at publicaddress.net, the Hard News blog, also the Media 7 show back for 2011 on TVNZ7. Russell Brown. Good morning, Russell.
Good morning.
Have you had a good break?
I have indeed, actually. It's been a glorious summer in the Chev.
A lot of time cycling around Auckland?
Cycling around Auckland when there's not much traffic is very pleasant, actually.
Yeah, it is good, isn't it?
Yeah, you can sort of plunder along roads that you normally are far too busy to use. So.
And avoiding your local beach being Point Chev.
My local beach being Point Chev has been a fantastic thing this year, actually.
Oh, has it?
No, there was we've had one decent bout of rain in the past month, and after that it was avoid it for 2 or 3 days.
Right.
Because our stormwater is still not fully separated. But apart from that, it's been absolutely gorgeous.
Okay, so I can return to Point because the last I saw was that last reading that said they needed to take samples again.
Yeah, that was quite an old reading. Yeah, that was
right.
From back in December.
Good.
Basically, the rule is with the inner city beaches, like ours, is give it 2 or 3 days after a big rainstorm, basically.
Yeah, and then you can go swim in the toilet.
But you know
after
who
you're flushed.
does live down overlooking that very beach?
Who?
Maggie Barry.
Oh, right. Well, that's quite far away from Botany.
It is. It's a long way from Botany. I'm not quite sure. I mean, I suppose she's a long way from even being selected as the candidate, and there'll be a few other people want that. But
so she's put her foot forward for the candidacy for Botany for the National Party.
Yeah.
Okay. Was anyone surprised? I mean, I was surprised.
I was surprised. She hadn't struck me as a political sort, actually. I've spoken to her, I've heard her on the radio. I would never have picked her as someone who saw themselves in Parliament.
Yeah.
Most of the stuff she's done, journalistically in the last sort of 10, 15 years has been quite lifestyle-y anyway. So,
could you have picked her politics?
Possibly, yes. Maybe I could have picked her politics. If you made me choose.
Yeah.
But she's never struck me as a particularly political person. I mean, I suppose she was more so when she was a Radio New Zealand announcer in Wellington, and she did actually do, she did political interviews.
She was a morning report host.
Yeah. I'm quite surprised. It'll be interesting. She might go all right. I mean, she's got to get picked first, and there's a few people want that seat, including the likes of Aaron Batnagar. I gather is interested in that. So, it will be interesting. I mean, there's a checkered history of journalists and broadcasters entering politics. Didn't work too well for Pam Corkery. But at local government level, a few more, and Bob Parker's the obvious example.
Yeah.
Bob Parker was on TV for years.
Yeah.
But up until the earthquake, it appeared that people weren't really liking him either. So.
Yeah.
Celebrity politicians, not quite sure.
Yeah, the bit I find interesting about this is that Maggie Barry was one of those, broadcasters who, was very professional and always appeared to be non-biased in her interviews.
Yeah.
And I've always find it disappointing when broadcasters like that do enter politics afterwards, because then it colours everything that they did beforehand. For me.
Yeah, I guess you could see it that way. Although, I mean, I've never. I know. Was it Kim Hill doesn't vote? I think it's possible to take these things too far. And I know there are some journalists and broadcasters who think that in order to be perfectly squeaky clean and neutral, they should not have any views at all, which I think is ridiculous. So it's certainly not something I can keep to.
But I mean, of course, like every broadcaster will have their own personal opinions, and will at the end of the day, if they do vote, will vote a certain way, but they'll often keep that private. But if you're going to go to the extreme eventually, if the idea is in your head that you are thinking about going into politics at some stage in the future, then surely you should start wearing your political heart on your sleeve at some point during your broadcasting career.
Yeah, that's a good point. And if you were going into politics, if you made that decision to go into politics, one would hope it wasn't going to be a spur-of-the-moment decision, and that you had been thinking about it for some time. I don't. It sometimes annoys me when people are vilified merely because they have sought to be elected to office, because we need people to do that.
Sure.
It's a noble thing. But yeah, I take your point there. That's an interesting point. That maybe at some point you should have started.
Because I guess with me personally, within the last sort of 2 years, I've decided, well, I don't really enjoy sitting on the fence anymore. I'll sit on the Liberal side of things. I'll probably even sit more, closer to the Green side of things on the spectrum. Just because I'm sort of fed up with sort of having to be that sort of person sitting in the middle and not putting my opinion forward. So I've chosen that particular path. So but now people will know what they get from me. When I do an interview, if I do an interview with a National Party person, they know where I'm coming from. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, well, I've never been very good at keeping my opinions to myself in that respect.
Yeah. Well, and you made that decision a long time ago.
Yes, 1991, I think Hard News started. So.
But I just think, if someone's going to be doing a show like Morning Report, I mean, I just think that if they did have thoughts about their own politics and going into politics in the future, then they should start saying that now.
That's tricky, though. I mean, how many years ago was Morning Report?
Well, it's a long time ago, yeah. But I'm even more recently on Radio Live doing the current affairs show in the afternoon.
True, yeah, I guess so. And you do actually have some more leeway to express your political views
on a show like that.
On Radio Live anyway.
Yeah. Are there any other examples that you can think of journalists, media people? I guess Chris Farfoy would be...
Chris Farfoy's another one. That worked a bit better. I'm just trying to think who have been journalists.
The new press secretary for Phil Goff, Fran Moult.
Ah, right.
And now going into a press secretary role, does that mean that you're leaning?
It's not at all the same thing as
it's not, is it?
No.
Okay.
It still grieves me that so many journalists do it, though, because we need people being journalists and using their talents and not using what they've learned to manage other journalists around the news. I can see why people do it, why they go into those sorts of roles, because the pay is so much better.
Yeah.
And it's probably actually, it's a change and it's more inspiring. Because there's, print journalism, there's not a lot of money, and you may not end up doing what you want. Whereas, I can see there's something exciting about entering the spin doctor role.
Yeah. Well, having, I guess, if you have been in the press corps at the Beehive for so long and seeing how things work, I could see that temptation of that excitement would be there to hop over to the other side.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and spin your previous colleagues. Yeah,
and they all seem to love doing it. I mean, I kind of admire the ones that don't, to be honest.
Okay.
People like Colin James, who's never gone there, and he's been a freelancer, and because boy, being a print freelancer in the current day and age is not easy.
No,
you've really got to want to do it.
It's the hard road.
Indeed.
Hey, thanks very much, Russell.
One thing.
Yep.
We've discussed previously WikiLeaks on the show.
Yeah.
If people are interested, I think one of the most fascinating things I've read recently is the Vanity Fair article on the what looks like a growing split between the Guardian and WikiLeaks. It's vanityfair.com. It's really fascinating behind-the-scenes story.
I saw a snarky tweet from WikiLeaks the other day about the Guardian.
Yes, and I kind of picked that was happening, so I felt kind of vindicated when I saw that.
Yeah.
And that snarky tweet led to a very snarky blog post over who was to blame for something, and it kind of, I thought, don't write this sort of blog post, and B, I thought this was happening.
This gives plenty of ammunition to the right. Gives plenty of ammunition to the right. To look at the left and say
what the US government's now doing is subpoenaing Twitter records is appalling.
Yeah, right.
It's really, I have my misgivings about Julian Assange in particular, but the way that the US government is behaving pretty much bears out most of what he had to say.
Now, I saw an article on Salon.com that insinuated that potentially anyone who was following WikiLeaks on Twitter or Facebook could also have their details subpoenaed.
Yeah, that apparently seems to be the case. And that includes me.
No, we're the same. So that's, yeah.
I don't even like them sometimes.
But so that's considered, so they could look at our private direct tweets.
Yeah, although no, I would seriously doubt that they would get that order. But if we have exchanged direct messages with WikiLeaks,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
they'll be able to look at those.
I can't say I've done that.
Who's done that? You know?
No.
Okay.
Thanks, Russell. Cheers.
Righto, see ya.
Yeah, Russell Brown at publicaddress.net, also the Media 7 show on TV.